Hi, my friends, my lovers. It's your tour guide to the sci-fi side, me, Preston E. And yes, I have more than just this shirt in my wardrobe. I actually have tons of these shirts in my wardrobe. And I have tons of Mystery Science Theater movies for your viewing pleasure. And today, we're going to be looking at the collection of Mystery Science Theater, Volume 12. First up is the Rebel set from Season 4. But before we get to the movie, let's get to the Invention Exchange. Firstly, the Mads cut down time wasted standing in lines by their grooming kits and body-sized mirrors that travels along with you. All you have to do is get a willing participant in front of you in line to volunteer to hang stuff from them. Details. Joel and the bots make paint by numbers easy for this beginner's painting set that even Stevie Wonder could appreciate. On to the movie. No, wait, we have a short first called Johnny at the Fair. A little boy named Johnny is at the fair, fancy that, with his parents, but he is bored with their desires to look at stuffy art exhibits and breaks out on his own. Once broken away from the shackles of his parental figures, little Johnny turns to a life of crime as he picks pockets of fair patrons, steals a gun from a security guard, and holds up many pavilions at the fair for food, toys, and money. He also murders an annoying comedy duo for kicks. No, wait. My twisted nipple mind is running wild again, sorry. Johnny actually runs away from his parents to go off to do his own thing, like go on rides and see sights he wants to see. He also meets celebrities like Joe Louis. Eventually, little Johnny gets lonely for his mom and dad, who finds him in the Lost and Found Kids Pavilion. Rejoined with his parents, Johnny is happy for now. However, this would mess with Johnny's young psyche, as he would eventually turn to a life of crime, starting with knocking over liquor stores and beating up street mimes for kicks. I'm sorry. Now, on to the movie. The Rebel Set is a 1959 crime drama starring the chief from Get Smart himself, Edward Platt, as a beatnik coffee shop owner who hires three wayward dudes to help him commit an armored car robbery and promise to split $1 million with them. The guys he hires is an out-of-work actor named John, a writer dealing with hard times named Ray, and a movie star son named George. Mr. Tucker, played by Edward Platt, eliminates his partners one at a time. John is the only one he does not get a chance to kill, as John kills him himself. Makes sense? And keeps him from getting away with the crimes. With an interesting plot coupled with weirdo beatniks and raised in status by star Edward Platt's appearance, this movie speeds along like a train with hilarious riffs by Joe and the Bots, including a lot of old Get Smart references for an old 3 out of 5 SOL Bones, Chief. Speaking of the Chief and Get Smart, we get a spy movie up next called Secret Agent Super Dragon from Season 5. Before we get to that, we get the always inventive Invention Exchange. TV's Frank demos the virtual stand-up comedian, giving you all the laughs, the heckles, the boos, the cricket chirps, and all the need of a lifetime of therapy a stand-up comedian goes through. Joe and the Bots give us micro golf, good for those who still can't make par on those pesky mini-golf courses. On to the movie. Secret Agent Super Dragon is a 1966 spy mystery thriller starring a slick-as-snot secret agent named Byron Cooper, a.k.a. Super Dragon, played by Ray Denton, who was called back in the service when, I kid you not, an old colleague is killed off due to gum that is doused with a psychosis drug. Super Dragon is held by a tech nerd, comic relief chubby guy, and a sexy bombshell finding out that a crime syndicate has smuggled the drug in vases. With an over-the-top deep voice and slick black hair, slick dialogue, slick personality, and equally slick delivery, Secret Agent Super Dragon hits all the slick spy cliches, and he hits them slickly with a hard karate chop to the throat. Ki-ya! With hilarious running riffs by Joe and the Bots, including a particularly earworm-inducing song that Joe and the Bots sang about Secret Agent Super Dragon. This is definitely the spy who tickled my funny bone, and he gets a 3 out of 5 SOL bones. Kia! Secret. Up next is Starfighters from Season 6. Before we get to the movie, we get Cowboy Mike's Red Ricochet Barbecue Sauce. Ooh-wee! This sauce is so hot, it's guaranteed to shoot your giant-sized novelty foam cowboy hats up in the air. Yeehaw! This sure ain't from New York City. New York City! I think it's actually from Wisconsin. It's the cheesiest. Now, on to the movie, cowboy. If you have a need for speed, well, this movie isn't for you, Maverick. The Starfighters does have plenty of air action in it, but it's mostly refueling planes in the air. That's right, there are two things this movie does real well: phone calls and mid-air refueling.
So this is like a coming-of-age story.
He's a little bashful. That's about it for the plot. A few young pilots fly in their jets, refuel their jets mid-air, and go on dates in between all that. You do get this one pilot's annoying politician daddy who constantly calls to check in on him, much to the slight annoyance of the officers. This movie really feels more like a long instructional video for the Air Force. With a paper-thin plot, there's really not much for Mike and the Bots to riff on, but since there is some bombs dropped in this bomb in the desert training sequence and poopy suits, I'm not going to give this one a 1. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 SOL bones. And finally, we have Parts, a Clonus horror from Season 8. This film is a 1979 sci-fi movie about a group of young people living on a compound, and these youngsters are actually grown from cloned cells of wealthy people to serve as organ banks. They are guarded at all times until it is time for them to be lobotomized to be harvested for their organs. One of the clones discovers all of the nefarious goings-ons after he becomes suspicious. He's the smart one of the class. He escapes the compound to the outside world. Here he discovers he is the clone of a journalist who is the brother of a presidential candidate of the United States. People of America, lend me your biographies. Peter Graves stars as presidential candidate Jeff Knight, so expect plenty of biography references. Dick Sargent, who played Dick York, who played Darren of Bewitched fame, also stars as Dr. Jameson. In the host segments, Mike Nelson, Bridget Jones, and Paul Chaplin play 3 space children that annoy the Mads. For Sinning in the Clones and plenty of fun biography and Bewitched references, thanks to the presence of Peter Graves and Dick Sargent, this episode gets a 4 out of 5 SOL bones. Copy that? The final score for Volume 12 is 12, fancy that, SOL bones out of 20. Well, that about does it for me. Please like, subscribe, and share. I've been Preston E. Garrison, and